Welcome to On Air Education, presented by Silver State Schools Credit Union. Today's episode welcomes world-renowned celebrity chef Guy Fieri, host of the Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Join host Jonathan Scott and the mayor of Flavortown, Guy Fieri, in their informative conversation about studying culinary arts, the hospitality program at UNLV, and today's restaurant trends.
Hey everybody, Jonathan Scott with On Air Education, a show dedicated to helping parents, teachers, and students with both distance and blended learning. This is really the start of our third season, and we decided to take a shot and explore the culinary arts, which are certainly very popular in Las Vegas. We have every great chef in the world, and if I may do a slight little introduction of our special guest, chef, restaurateur, New York Times bestselling author, Emmy award-winning TV host. Guy Fieri is the most recognizable and influential culinary stars of today. 2019, Chef Guy Fieri received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. At age 10, Guy Fieri started selling soft pretzels from a three-wheeled bicycle cart that he built with his father called the Awesome Pretzel Cart. After selling pretzels and washing dishes for 6 years, Chef Guy Fieri earned enough to study abroad in France. Chef returned to the U.S., graduated with a degree in hospitality management from UNLV. And I want to thank Chef Mark Sandoval, executive chef at UNLV's hospitality, for the introduction. After graduation, Chef opened his scheduled dining concepts in Northern Cal. 2006, Chef Guy Fieri won Food Network's Next Food Network Star and was awarded his own series, Guy's Big Bite. I love the names, which led to the wildly successful Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or Triple D, as the chef calls it. Chef recently raised over $21 million starting the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund, providing over 43,000 grants to restaurant workers. Chef and his Knuckle Sandwich LLC team recently launched Flavortown Kitchen, 175 location virtual brands to complement his 80-plus scratch kitchen concepts, and has partnered with the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar, and Santo Tequila Company. Say hello to the mayor of Flavortown, Chef Guy Fieri. How did I do?
You did pretty good, except you got the name wrong. It's Fieri, but
Fieri.
We'll let you go one time with Fieri. You gave me more accolades than I deserved. It was like you were giving me my eulogy, but thank you, and appreciate the invite.
Well, we appreciate you and everything that you've done for the college, and I know that UNLV was important to your early matriculation, if you will. And I guess the question that we really have is what did you find positive and great about the hospitality program at UNLV?
Well, I mean, so many facets to it. You know, UNLV is a big little school, big name, still a little school, still a school where you can have direct contact with everybody, from your teachers to your dean to your athletic director. I mean, everybody's accessible. And I went there, and you know what, I was there in 87, 88, 89, graduated in 90, and it was a big little school. My son went there and attended and just graduated 4 years ago, and it was the same energy. Granted, the buildings were a little bit nicer, or a lot nicer. It was way more dorms. But it's a school where it's approachable, especially when you're in the hospitality industry. The industry is about connections and contact and relationships and all of those pieces. And that's what was so great to see, is how the school had continued to grow and thrive, but yet still stayed core to its roots. And Dean Stowe is a man of the people. I mean, I was walking the campus with him a few months ago. We were there doing a fundraiser and for the school, and we were walking through, and we must have passed 50 different students, and he's like, hey, how's that come along? Get me that, we need to still go back. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
With the 1,000 students that are in his program. So everybody has a choice and a decision in life. They're going to go to school and what they're going to do. And school is so much more than just the education. It's the experience. It's the people. It's as I said, again, the connections. And when you're in the hospitality industry, there is no place, I don't care what anybody wants to say, there is no hospitality destination in the world like Las Vegas. When I went to school, back when I was a kid, but when I went to school, you couldn't find, there's a few fine dining restaurants in Las Vegas. Most of them are Caesars. Everything was a buffet. It wasn't, did they have a buffet? It's who has the best buffet. And that's really where Vegas has changed. It was come for the gambling, maybe get some sports, once in a while a concert, and buffets. Now it's changed to what restaurant are we going to go to? What show are we going to see? What sporting event are we going to do? And oh yeah, we'll gamble in the middle of it. So we are in the epicenter. As I said, this is the place to be if you want to learn hospitality in any way, shape, or form, from entertainment side of it to food side of it to lodging side of it. You can get it. So it's. I know you asked me a question. I gave you a run-on answer, but I have nothing but, a matter of fact, to the point where my son graduates from college, and there was a lot of colleges he was talking to, a lot of things he was looking at, and literally between Dean Stowe and I, we were sitting there, with bated breath. I think it was announced on it was on E Entertainment, or it was Extra was there filming me, and the call came in, and Hunter said, "Okay, Dad, I made my decision," and we're there, it's a first round draft pick.
Yeah,
he had a great experience though.
What difference did you find? Obviously, you chose casual dining over fine dining, but you mentioned fine dining. Why did you go that way? Was it just personal what you like?
I'm not a real fine. I mean, I like to go out and eat fine dining. I don't dress up very much. Look at you. You're looking good in a tie and in a suit, and you're in 106-degree weather. I'm in a t-shirt in Northern California. Now, I'm just an easygoing guy. I'm intense. Don't get me wrong, but I was just never a suit and tie. Now, believe it or not, when I was in college, I was a flambe captain at a fine dining restaurant and did tableside flambe service, and had my whole thing with my steak Diane and my crepe Suzette and you name it. And so I had that a little bit of a feeling of it, but I don't know. I'm not as much classical. I'm a little more rock and roll. So that's but the neat thing is the school is UNLV offers you such a wide variety. I'd like to see them get more culinary, definitely more culinary. But they offer a wide variety. You can go in there as a student and really get a nice profile of what the industry's like, and then go and pick out what you'd like to do to finish up your degree.
There's so much to cover. I mean, front of the house, back of the house, working the line, being a sous chef, being a pastry chef. There's all those options, and there's so much. I guess the question now is, what trends do you see? I've been a little privy, and I know about ghost kitchens, but where do you see the future of culinary going?
Well, I think it's really becoming a blend. I think people are becoming so savvy. When I was in school, UNLV, there was no such thing as the Food Network. There was nothing like that going on. You had PBS, you had the Galloping Gourmet, you had Julia Childs, you had Graham Kerr, you had the legends that were doing this and setting us up for this, opportunity. And now the education of the dining public and the viewer is, it's blown up. Back when I started Food Network 15 years ago, still a lot of shows that we call ITK, in the kitchen, where it's a lot of people making dishes and making recipes. And now it's more about lifestyle of food, because people have become more educated and are like, we don't need to know how to make pumpkin bread. We got it. We're on. And there's still some great shows. Pioneer Woman, Reed does a great job with that, Ina. But people, the public's so much more educated. The great thing is it's making the restaurants become better, because the restaurants now have to meet up to the standards and the needs of what's going on in the dining public. And so I don't say that it's a trend. Vegetarians becoming really popular, vegan vegetarians becoming really popular. Thematic restaurants, not thematic in like novelty, but like, big restaurant concepts that are going nationwide. So what I tell the young students that are graduating, or young professionals that want to be heavy hitters in this business, is you got to know both sides. You got to know both sides of the coin. You got to know front of the house, back of the house. You got it. You just can't. You can't be as big as you probably want to, or as people want to be. You got to be as great in the kitchen as you're in the front of the house. Maybe your specialty is the kitchen, and or your specialty is the front, but you have to have a good 60-40 balance at least to be a hitter, to really get it. And that's the neat thing about UNLV, is that you have a chance to do that. I never wanted to work in gaming. but I got a great education in my, my casino classes, my gaming classes. Vince Eade was my professor, still a really good friend of mine. I've stayed in touch with quite a few of my professors and great people. But get it all. Get everything you can. Take every class. Go participate in UNLV now. Get anything and everything that UNLV offers, and I think you'll have a good wide range of education and insight, and be more valuable to the industry.
You mentioned UNLV, and I certainly, because of my friend Don Ross, attended many of the UNLVs at Paris Hotel, and I read about you starting your wine, and I checked Lee's Liquors. They don't have it. I would call the marketing people.
Somebody at Lee's Liquors is not taking care of their UNLV Las Vegas boy. I'll tell you, that's what it is.
There was no love.
Southern Wine and Spirits carries the Santo Tequila that Sammy, as you so graciously introed, carries the Santo Tequila that we do. And that's carried by Southern. And then Young's Market, it carries our hunt ride wine. So my sons are Hunter and Rider. And so we name everything after them. The ranches and all that stuff are after them. So why not name the wine after them? And beautiful wine. I mean, we do everything from a Meritage to a Pinot to a Chard to a Table Red. So we've got a nice little mix of things out there. But we're getting ready to leave to go to Northern California, where I'm originally from, up a little town called Ferndale. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman.
I did, yeah.
But where that was filmed is the town I'm from, this town called Ferndale. So my foundation is the Guy Fieri Foundation. Don't ask how we came up with the name. But the foundation, once a month, we started the foundation to help people during tragedies. So we have all these fires up here in Northern California. We started the foundation to feed people when the fires happened, because they were evacuating whole towns and people were sleeping on, gymnasium floors, and all there was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I have the resources. We have this 50-foot long commercial trailer that's a commercial kitchen on a trailer. So we're able to go and feed 5,000, 10,000 people in a day. So when we do not have the tragedies, we can't sit idle. That doesn't work for me. So we go to different communities. We were just in Las Vegas and did this, but we go and do thank you luncheons for first responders and veterans and active military, just to say thanks. We feed them for free. Just throw a big party for them and cook barbecue and just tell them how much we appreciate them and how much we appreciate them taking care of our country and taking care of our citizens and our communities. So we're going up to Humboldt today. We're deploying 30 people, and we're all heading up there to go do this big feed for 650. But we were just in Las Vegas 2 months ago, and I got the key to the Strip, highlight of my career. Awesome.
Yeah.
And had almost 1,000 people there with our partnership with Caesars. Caesars was really awesome and gave us the big banquet room over there at the Forum, and we had an awesome event.
Here at Silver State Schools Credit Union, we do things differently than other financial institutions. We are a not-for-profit member-owned credit union, which means you, the member, benefit from better rates and excellent member service. And we make it easy for anyone to become a member. So what are you waiting for? Become a member today and have a financial partner for life.
People over profit, Silver State Schools Credit Union.
I was like, Uno's Dues or Gino's East. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a Philly question that for sure will get you in trouble.
And I have to add, if you've ever been to the Billy Goat Tavern.
Have been to the Billy Goat. I liked it. I liked it more on Saturday Night Live. I thought that, no, I'm just kidding. But I loved hearing the story. So Belushi, his brother is good friends of mine, and he, he would tell me his brother and I would talk about this, and Jim is just a real character. We were just on a show together, and I had him on my show and he had me on his show, and we would talk about the tavern. And I said, well, I loved it, when your brother parodied it on Saturday Night Live. But, the first time I ever had it was in the airport in Chicago. There's a little food court at the airport in Chicago. And even if I wasn't in that terminal, I would always hustle down there to go get hot Italian beef, and really nice people. So, and great history. Again, back to the history. You love to see places that have done it and continue to do it the way they did it.
It used to be all the reporters would go down there, Rick Hogan and all the guys from the Sun-Times and Tribune.
Yeah, because it's underneath the subway or something, right? Under the bridge.
Yeah, it's under Wacker Drive. Hamburgers. What would be the perfect Guy Fieri hamburger?
There you go.
I know you
Picking
can't have
that
an egg on it.
So we have burger joints on Carnival Cruise Lines on I think 25 ships right now all over the world, and it's one of the highlights of the culinary experience. I'm not a big burger fan. I got to be 1,000% on, and I'll tell you why. Because I think a lot of times people do not treat them with respect. It's like, hey, I know everybody will eat it. We get a patty, we'll cook it, however we cook it. Get a couple pieces of bread, look like a bun. We'll make that happen. We'll put some stuff on it, and here you go. And it's this piece of American culture and history that has been so. I mean, you can get it at a gas station. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, but you can get it at a gas station, and that sometimes lends itself to people thinking that it can just be whatever. Okay. Different than fried chicken. You can fried chicken out of a gas station. You can fry something, leave it in the hot lamp. It's not going to die on you. A burger's going to die. A burger needs to be cooked right. Okay. Needs to get the right treatment. It's going to get the right seasoning. It needs to get a great bun. Any of the accoutrement that goes with it needs to be fresh, sliced, thin, crispy, crunchy. It has to be done right. So a burger is very simple, and if it's done right, it's great. If it's not done right, I'm not a big fan.
Vegas, we had La Cordon Bleu for a while here, and we don't have it anymore. And I guess my question, when you went to France to study cooking, aside from more butter on everything, what makes French cooking different than the rest of the world?
Well, I didn't go. I was only 16 when I went to France. I went to a high school. I didn't even go for cooking. I went just because I wanted to be an exchange student, but I didn't speak any French, so that kind of made it tough. But the French food that I ate was what I called real French food, because it's what we ate at home. This thing of everything being over cheesed, over sauced, over buttered wasn't really the way we ate. It's kind of like everybody saying, oh, you go to America and it's all, the streets are lined with cheeseburgers and pizza. No, it's not that. It's really not. Same thing with Italy. You go to Italy and there's so many different regions to France, and so many different regions to Europe, to the United States. Go eat something in New England and then go eat something in Phoenix. You get two totally different experiences from the same country. So what do we want to do? How do we want to depict what the United States is? So honestly, it wasn't really that way, but we were eating organic before I ever heard what the word organic was. Because in France, everybody just grew it in their farms, and they just grew it in their farms, and they took it down, and it was either sold in the streets, in the afternoons. But the French culture was so amazing because we had lunch was the thing. Then there was a break between lunch and dinner, and then people would reopen their stores, and then you'd have a light dinner. Dinner wasn't the big hit. It was just crazy the way we lived and what we ate. There was no convenience stores, no snack foods. I mean, you'd go to the grocery store and maybe there'd be, there was an area for chips, but it wasn't like this, like the States where we have the whole aisle full of any flavor. And granted, that's just continued to grow. Now, I will say this: when I went back to France multiple times, but in my most recent visit, 4 years ago, I went to the same grocery store in the same town I grew up in, right, that I lived in. And all of the fresh produce aisles and all the fresh food aisles were gone. And there was a big row of freezers. And I said to my best friend from France, who still lives there, I'm like, what happened? And he goes, America. He gives me.
When I went to France and my daughter was young, she looked at me and she said, Dad, if we lived here, I'd have to learn how to start smoking.
Well, and that's even getting better now, though. But it's, it's a different culture. That's what I try to share with people all the time. If you want to be great in this industry, you've got to really immerse yourself in it. If you want to really, you got to really know the depth of it. You got to have the feeling for it. And I think there's a lot of ways to do that. I mean, some people do it through reading. Some people do it to online master courses. Some people do it from being in the trenches like I was my whole life in the business. But you gotta, if you get a good base foundation like UNLV, do yourself the next favor and make sure that you kind of get a little bit of, a little bit of extra buffer out there of something that really interests you. Maybe you become a wine sommelier. Maybe you become a nutritionist, whatever. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways that you can achieve this, but UNLV is a great start.
Have you been approached to do a master online course?
Oh, they've talked to me about a few of these things. I got a little bit of a busy schedule. I mean, I've got, 4 shows. I produce 8 shows. I've got 95 restaurants and product and things and stuff. And, I think everybody
jumped on the opportunity to get you because we know you're so busy.
There may be something that comes out, but right now I think everybody's doing such a great job with it. There's so many fantastic offerings. I was just had some young chefs come to me the other day and say, how can we go to the next thing? I said, listen, on your phone, the next time you're going anywhere and download it and watch it on the plane and get this master's course. I mean, there's so much information that you're crazy not to be obtaining it. I mean, back when I was going to school, you had to go to the library to get it, remember the Dewey Desk.
I spoke with a chef the other day and he brought up an interesting point. He for young people that are starting in culinary, an opportunity to do a food truck.
Yeah, food trucks are a dicey one. I worry about people that jump into them. And I love them. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great experience and a great way to taste some food that's not super expensive. But I watch people that sometimes don't do their math and don't really think it through. And it's real easy to get over your skis financially and then just not be able to, just in pure mathematical sense, be able to sell enough food in enough hours, in enough days to pay for it.
Can people still contribute to the charity for the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund?
No, we stopped the fund about a year ago, and not because it wasn't doing great and it did great things. I mean, we were almost at 25 or just a little over $25 million is what was raised. And the National Restaurant Association was such a great partner with that, because when I started the whole idea, we started here at my house on a Sunday night making videos and sending them to these business presidents and CFOs that were all profiting from the restaurant industry. I sent them all and I said, listen, man, I'm from the business and you guys have been doing great. Pepsi, you've been awesome. It's time to help. I need some money from you. We need to get money to the team members that aren't going to get support, to the people that can't live and wait for the government funding. I need money in people's pockets. Next morning, Pepsi called me. I about drove off the road. My manager called and said, "You sent something to Pepsi last night?" I said, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Because I got their president on the phone. He wants to talk to you. Let's give you $1 million." And the money started coming in. And, there are so many people that benefit from the restaurant business: employees, restaurant owners, customers, but businesses. And the big businesses are the ones that I went after and asked for help. And boy, they were amazing. Uber Eats, amazing. Cargill, amazing. Tito Vodka. I mean, the list went on and on and on of people that jumped in and helped out. And we couldn't give everybody a check. We gave out $500 grants. That's what they were. But we gave about 43,000 of them out. And I've run into people quite a bit back in the day, and not as much anymore, but they would walk up to me and go, "I got the money." And I'll look at them, they're like, "Thank you."
$500.
And what they weren't saying was thank you for the money. They were saying thank you to my industry for caring about me and recognizing me and knowing that I'm a member of this team, and I want to, be recognized and supported. It was awesome. I mean, and that's what the whole principle was. It wasn't about, yes, it was getting money in their pocket, but it was letting them know that the people in the business really cared. And so it was awesome.
For those that are interested in culinary arts, I hear from a lot of people in the restaurant business that I know that staffing is an incredible problem right now. Are you finding that to be true as well?
Yeah, it's the industry's always been in the case of how do we build more business and get more customers through the door and more guests, and how do we have that experience, and trying to keep the best people employed. And now we've got business hand over fist, and we can't get the people to come and run the business. So yeah, it's a difficult. I don't know where the sunrise or sunset on this is, but it needs to wrap up soon. We got a lot of, and the thing is, it's what I want to remind people of. The restaurants will find a way to make the restaurants work without people. That's not what we want. Restaurants are so vital to our economic structure in this country, for second jobs, for single parents, for retirees, for students. I mean, there's just a whole list of why this industry is so important. And that's why I always encourage people, go out and support your restaurant industry. They're the ones you go to for the gift certificate for your kid's soccer banquet. They're the ones that you go to celebrate your special occasions. I mean, they're there for you through the good times and the bad times. You got to make sure you support them.
You've been most gracious with your time. Last question. How do you make a good soft pretzel?
Well, I'm a steam guy. When I started the Awesome Pretzel Cart, that's the way I learned, is that you steam them. Now, I was completely disenchanted and heartbroken when I got to New York and I found that they were taking these big pretzels and they got the big ones. We only had the small ones from a company called Super Pretzel, who are awesome people. But you steam them and they're doughy and they're tender and the salt sticks to them and they're just, And I go to New York to get these big pretzels. And I'm like, I can't wait. And they kind of semi-warm them or bake them. They're not gooey and tender and supple. They're kind of crunchy and hard and dried out a bit. And I'm like, I've been kicking your guys' butt in the pretzel game all the way in Northern California. That's my recommendation. But listen, this is great what you're doing and giving people the insight. You got to make good decisions about what you're doing with your kids, where they're going to school and what they're doing with their education. I can't speak enough about how UNLV has been to me and throughout my Hunter's education and people that we've sent there. Like I said, big little school. You want to have hands-on, approachable professors and administration and a chance to see a great sports program and be in the be half a mile from the Strip where the real energy of hospitality is going on. This is your school.
We've been looking for new ways to help spread the word about how great it is to be a member at Silver State Schools Credit Union. So I asked my friend Mercedes to help out.
Members get awesome perks like great rates, cool benefits, and personalized service.
Wow, Mercedes, that's really loud.
Well, yeah, you asked me to spread the word.
I was thinking maybe you could say it on the radio.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Become a member today and have a financial partner for life.
Well, again, Chef, you've been most gracious with your time, and we certainly appreciate your input and everything you've done for the community. Can't wait to have a glass of that wine with you sometime. And the mayor of Flavortown, I'm going to try it, Guy Fieri.
Close enough.
Thank you for watching On Air Education, brought to you by Silver State Schools Credit Union, prioritizing people over profits. This is Jonathan Scott reminding you to eat well and party hard, my friends.